Your powers are weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
The octane levels, okay. If Roger will give me a few minutes, but it's up to him because I've explained a lot of times. Octane levels actually socioeconomic. They're not has nothing to do with looks, right? How were you raised? What kind of economic level were you raised in, and what your social circle actually is, right? And that's what octane levels. The only level that actually depends solely on looks, especially looks and money, is 100 octane, which is what I call the baller class, right? So in other words, to be a woman in the baller class, be accepted in the baller class, in the jet set baller class, entertainer, high level drug dealer, athlete, even a billionaire. Billionaire as far as dating and mating, unless you get the billionaire early, right? Is the 100 octane level, right? And you got to be at least an 8 minimum to actually be in that class. In fact, I wish I could get Cousin T-Taw's breakdown, because he actually breaks down the 100 octane level, right? Going all the way from from the IG model, which is at the lowest level that you see all these guys pass around, the IG model, all the way up to the elite level where you have kings and queens. Okay, we have queens marrying kings and duchesses and stuff like that, which is royalty, which is the upper crust of the 100 octane, which is rarefied air. Okay, so basically, you're not going to see a Prince Harry marry somebody that's less than Meghan Markle, will you? He's not gonna go marry a 4. He's not.
Understood.
If you were a high level athlete, let's take Nick Cannon for example, right? He's a baller, right? He's a high earning, high status entertainer, right? Mariah Carey was his minimum. That's his minimum. That's where he starts, and she had money. Okay, that's Mariah Carey. Is, if you look at all the women Nick Cannon has been with, Mariah Carey is probably, as far as looks wise, is probably the minimum, because everybody else after her, he is only gone up.
Yep.
I mean, just my opinion. What do you think, Roger? Would you say Mariah Carey is probably his minimum, right?
No, I agree. And Mariah got him because he had a crush on her when he was younger. That's all that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he don't have no reason to be with somebody who ain't considered one of the baddest at this particular point in his life. He literally has no reason to deal with her.
Yeah, but would you get into, because Kevin was actually saying, in fact, Kevin was saying, okay, when you get into into what I call the 92s, I just use the 92s as the example, because Jay, you probably can, you can chime in on this, right? Because what's your highest degree, if you don't mind telling?
Just bachelor's, actually.
Just a bachelor. Did you go? Were you at a D1 school?
Yeah, I mean, after I graduated, my focus was to graduate Notre Dame and just go back home to Ghana. So
now Notre Dame is a D, what they call a D1 school, right? I think it's
a D1 / technically an aura of
Ivy, almost damn near Ivy League.
Yeah, Independence Ivy.
Yeah, you like independent Ivy, right? So basically, you're the top crust where you actually graduated from, right? So yes, you would be a 92, okay? And I don't know what field you're in, but saying are you corporate by any chance?
I studied political science.
Okay, what I'm saying is, do you work in like a corporate or high level government environment that with white collar professionals?
Yeah, I used to work. I actually used to work for the United Nations. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. In other words, you're a high level 92. You're a silver or gold collar worker. Okay.
Sure.
And basically, could you marry a chick from the hood? You could, right? But thing is, even
I could, but I never would.
You know what I'm saying? You never would. You wouldn't even. You probably have a hard time marrying a working class girl, because what you think about, what you do, what you would talk about is completely different than what her interests are, right? She's more interested in watching reality TV shows, okay, and sitting up eating popcorn, right, or maybe having a cookout every now and then. And you would bore her to death, and vice versa, right? True. So there's a crowd of there's a group of women that are similar to you that you would actually deal with or would prefer to deal with. I'm not saying that, you know, if you had to settle, you know, for a chick, you would probably want her college educated with a bachelor's, preferably even if she didn't kind of make it, which are those are the 89s that have become teachers or maybe nurses, but think they're college educated, they're well read, you know, fairly well read. They think about something other than the mundane, and those are the kind of women that you would prefer to be with.
Absolutely.
Those are 92 women, and the same vice versa for the 92 women. And basically, looks have nothing to do with it, with all of that stuff. So she might be a 5 or a 6. You know, you might, okay, well, I have to give up something. But the thing is, because of all the other stuff that come in with socioeconomically, you probably take her over a dime that's down in, you know, coming out of the projects.
Well, BGS, I'm glad you said that. So wouldn't he be going down to the local community college to get his chick? Because
No.
Go
ahead. Let me finish. Let me finish. I mean, that's like about, you know, we'll talk about the octanes, but thing is, when I have to actually explain it, it's a little bit more difficult, right? Which is why I'm working on the book, because people keep bugging me about the goddamn book. But anyway, go ahead. Local community college. Go ahead.
So a lot of those girls that are nurses, right? They come out of the local community college, right? They did have fathers that grew up halfway decent, but they didn't go to Stanford or Harvard. A lot of these wives did not go to these nice schools. They barely got through their local community college.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay, while we waiting on BGS, and I'm just gonna say, look at Nick Cannon, since you brought him up. Look how Nick Cannon, he married Mariah Carey, but these other chicks is like Instagram models or whatever the case is. You don't see him marrying those women, so it does mean something.
Right, and it's the level of the socioeconomic status, the upbringing, and like BGS, let's use the royalty. Royalty won't go down below, and it's not even because of what the dad screen, the future husband or anything. It's just the octane level, and where it's kind of I'm hoity-toity, I'm uppity, but that's the level. They won't decrease ever. So the 92s and go ahead, continue.
I was going to say, what I want to say is, okay, normally when I go into this kind of depth on Octane, I do charge, right? But I'm not charging because it's a public place. This is Roger's channel. I said I'm not charging. The thing is, if you value this kind of stuff, because I'm actually giving a detailed breakdown of Octanes rather than just the overall view, hit the Cash App or hit the super chat for Roger, okay? Because this is high level stuff, okay? I'm serious. This is high level stuff. That's how come. Actually, believe it or not, even though he doesn't say it, Kevin actually uses the octane levels when he's actually evaluating women. So he's asking about the tattoos and the education and stuff like that. He's actually evaluating, even though he doesn't use them out loud. That's how he evaluates whether certain women are actually available or actually suitable for a high value man. Anyway, okay. Now, the reason that the women that go to community college, especially if they don't graduate with a bachelor's degree, which for a 92, I would say Jay, jump back in for a second, because Jay's an example, okay, because he's a 92 guy. He's probably of the upper crust, but he's a 92 guy. Minimum for Jay, and I'm just using you as an example. You can either say it or not say it, Jay. You don't have to. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. Minimum for Jay probably would be bachelor's level. You have to have at least a bachelor's degree, right, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, minimum to be a 92 octane, it would be a bachelor's, right? And for somebody like Jay that's a 92, she probably would have to be in a field that's not working class, right, Jay?
No, definitely not. Not working class, exactly.
Okay, not working class, right? So we're talking about a 92 college graduate, and Jay probably would prefer, at his level, probably would prefer a master's or better. Masters are better. Go ahead.
A master's are better and has to make at least more than $1 million.
Definitely. What I'm saying, what I'm saying is you're the upper crust of, because I'm listening to your background, and you're the upper crust of, of this range. Okay,
there's nothing, BGS. There's nothing. This is what I try to tell guys, basically, like just gentlemen or just the brothers, basically. See, the buffoonish requests that the sisters in our community ask, you can basically ask them the same thing, but the difference is when we ask them, they definitely cannot offer that.
Because this in the black community, you have what you call we're compressed. Okay, so like we all the and Kevin said this, we're compressed. All the classes actually touch each other. Okay, at some point, you can be like a Robert F. Smith. If at some point, it's gonna cross lines with a dude that's probably an 85, a ghetto dude, because of your color. So we actually live in a compressed community. So our classes actually touch. In the white community, these classes do not. I'm not gonna see a billionaire with even ever crossing paths with a trailer park dude. It's not gonna happen. Okay, but in the black community, since like I said, we're in a compressed community, we all actually kind of touch each other, which is why it's kind of hard to kind of separate out, the classes. So unless you go behind the scenes, which is dating and mating. I'm saying you're probably upper crust. You're not quite baller level, but you're upper level 92. I would say upper level corporate business. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying what you prefer. I'm saying what your minimum is, right? Your minimum is probably masters or better. Okay, corporate or high level government, right? Or even at least mid-level government management, right? And then the other factors would come in, looks and all the other kind of crap, personality, all that kind of stuff would come in. But what I'm saying is that somebody that from the community college that gets an AA is still a working class girl. Okay, just like if you went to the community college, well, if I sent my son to the community college, he became a plumber and electrician, right? He might make $100,000, but he's still a working class guy. And so they're still what I call an 87, which is working class, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead.
The reason why it's important to basically push those standards is because here's the thing, BGS. Mm-hmm. When we're growing up, I'll give you a little bit of background. I was born in Ghana, and then I moved here.
Okay.
I have a line at Notre Dame. My uncle teaches at the science department. My uncle went to Notre Dame. My brother went to Notre Dame. My second cousin went to Notre Dame. So,
you come from the top 1% of Ghana, so it's not like you just fell off a tree out of the jungle someplace. Okay.
I would be, when I was back home, I would be considered probably middle class, upper middle class, slightly.
Upper middle class, yeah.
But not always. But we have to grow into it because at the time there was a lot of communism going on in the country.
Yeah.
But I would say when I was at Notre Dame, the biggest lesson that I learned is that when you're growing up in our community, because when we moved here, I lived in Brooklyn. I lived in what you would call the inner city.
Yeah.
And what I noticed is when I went to Notre Dame is that only when we live around our own people, we are considered normal. But when I was at Notre Dame, my biggest lesson that I learned is that technically I'm actually part of an elite class.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had access to. I'll give you an example. At one point in time, I was dating the Prime Minister from Ghana, his daughter.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I am part of an elite class. So Black men should ask for an elite status. That's pretty much just it. So if you're meeting a woman, if you're meeting a woman, you have to make sure that she's just as elite as you. That's 100%.
Yeah,
You
because
can
yeah,
request it. You can ask for it. Even at my time at working at the United Nations, I remember that being around other black men, I noticed that they were dating women who were making at least $500,000 to $1 million.
yeah. Because your social circles need to match.
Well,
Right.
but no, that's can I question on that? What about the pretty woman
As
syndrome?
soon as I read this super chat, and Bello Gino says he stole our Ado's jobs and degrees.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Like, he earned it.
No.
But
Well, he's joking. He got the laughing emoji.
BGS, I have a question for you, BGS. What about the pretty woman syndrome, where you get a man that buys a hoe off the streets and brings her into the lifestyle? Because hoes find themselves around money very entertaining.
Okay, what did I just say? The exception to that is what the baller class, right? When you have a hell of a lot of money, and you are at least an 8, 9, or 10, and probably if you're hoe off a pretty woman, say Julia Roberts, whether you like her or not, whether you like white women or not, Julia Roberts is probably right around a 9. Okay, when she was younger, she's a 9. Okay, she's movie star quality. Okay, how many Julia Roberts you gonna see floating around even the white community? She's gonna be at least minimum. Julia Roberts minimum is an 8. Okay. And so a woman that's a minimum 8, 9, or 10. Guess what she has as far as the currency is concerned? Beauty, right? And where somebody like Jay, okay, that's a factor, but it's not a main factor. But give Jay $100 million, okay? Somebody like Julia Roberts or that hoe is gonna be a side chick.
I have a question? If I watch
before the question, let me read the super chat before the question. He said, T Rilla, thank you very much. He says, what job or occupation pays $500K to $1 million? Honest question at J Bones.
That's
right, Jay. That's for you.
That's an easy answer. Let me explain it to you. Before me, like I was telling BGS, I have a line at Notre Dame. My brother Peter, he's a corporate control officer for MetLife. He makes $250,000. Now, after $250,000, he actually invests in 4 different countries. He owns companies in Senegal, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Botswana. So he can only make $250,000 here, but he's making an extra $250,000.
He's making $250,000 in salary. What is his bonus and other compensation?
Exactly.
That he gets?
His yearly bonus is almost $100,000.
Yeah, and his other compensation is stock options and stuff like that. He's probably more like $500,000.
Private access to a jet that takes him to India in less than 24 hours.
Yeah. So basically, if you add up all his perks or add off all his corporate compensation, he's probably closer to $500,000.
And he's actually nothing compared to his peers who are African American. There's a lot of brothers he graduated with at Notre Dame that makes even 10 times more than he does. There's a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of ADOS black men who are incredibly gifted.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. There's a lot of black men out here who are incredibly gifted.
And but they're also incredibly quiet because they make themselves targets if they open their mouth.
Exactly. They won't speak about how much money they make. But trust me, I've met black men from his circle who are making some. I can't even describe how much
ungodly amounts of money.
Exactly, definitely, yeah. Astronomical.
So my comment and a question would be: this is why you went with a degree, and without a degree, there's a cap you can just hit, and you can't go any further. With the degree, you start to tap into the Octane levels, and so my question would be: after Dr. Hassan Johnson broke down all of the data as to black men making $42,000 a year within his own black male race, he would be 50% more of other black men. So against the other race of men, he would be top, I would say 60, top 70 with that 42,000 for men and with all race.
The medium income in the United States So they go by. You got to go get away from average, right? The median income in the United States for all people, for all races, is $33,000 a year. Median, so half above, half below, right? 40% of all Americans make less than $18,000 a year. 42%. Okay, a third of white men live from hand to mouth. Okay, so basically, if you any person making $50,000 or more is at the very least in the top 30% of all earners. You can go to Wall Street Journal. You can go to. I actually broke this down in a video when they actually went to the Social Security charts and broke down percentages and stuff like that. I actually showed all this kind of stuff. So basically, they use average to make people feel better. If you go to median, we go to median and percentiles, and you could get accurate. So anybody making $50,000 a year or more is basically the top 30%. I don't care what color you are.
A truck driver makes that much.
Hold on for a second. I'll give you an example, Kinshawn.
Okay.
I can, being from Ghana, I can put 30 Chinese workers in Ghana right now to work and pay them maybe $2.50 a day.
Mm-hmm.
They will work for maybe 3.5 weeks, and they can build a 5-star hotel. That 5-star hotel will make me $100,000 in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Yeah, very simple.
Yeah. That's when you it's called global arbitrage.
Right.
Yeah.
So if a $40,000 truck driver with no qualifications, that means his cap in corporate or advancement to Blue Henry, an upcomer. So he would have to go back to school. He would have to go back to school to create the network that would give him the level up to Blue Henry.
He has to follow a different lane. Okay, for Blue Henry, if I didn't want to go to school, right? If I didn't want to go to school, I wanted to be a Blue Henry, right? You actually go into the military. You go into the military. Mm-hmm. You can do certain jobs. You can get a security clearance. You can come back out and you can make $150,000 without ever hitting a college campus, because one, you have a skill. You've been trained in the military for certain things, and then when you come back out, you have a security clearance. Your security clearance is actually worth more than probably the college degree is. Believe it or not.
And check this, BJ. The thing about it is, it's getting to the point where prisoners are getting out of jail and able to compete monetarily with a guy with a degree. Because they're starting to get their LLCs and start business too, because no one will hire them. Your degree is not going to keep you. It's not going to keep you.
It depends on what the degree and what track you follow, because there are certain places you cannot go without a degree. It just is. There's certain lanes that you won't even get into without having a degree, and certain lanes you can't even get into without going to a certain college, like a either independent Ivy or a state Ivy or a regular Ivy League school. There's certain lanes you cannot even get into. Okay.
People without degrees.
Irv, I gotta say this too. Those avenues that you're talking about, that prisons, come out and they get, them avenues was available before they went to prison.
Yeah.
Not like they went to prison, then the avenue opened up. They could have did that without going to prison.
But I'm just saying, that's the point is, even with that strike, even with that social strike that puts them behind, they're still catching up. You have a social, because if you have a social 1-up, you should be 2-up. But they have a social strike.
The odds of you going into prison, versus you going to college and you being successful are so astronomically diverse. We couldn't even calculate it, right? The people that go into prison, get out, and make over $100,000, man, they are so rare that they could be news stories on the front page. I'm
gonna start interviewing you to prove that's not technically true. I know so many of them that's not true.
What percentage of people?
It's very true, Irv. It's very true, because at the end of the day, the people who go to prison. Think about it, Irv. The people who go to prison normally are undisciplined people. Getting a business, because you're talking about folks who bypass job and go into business for themselves. You have to be very disciplined to get a business off the ground. those not usually what you're gonna find in the prison. Prison, you're gonna find undisciplined people. It's not impossible, but again, you act like prison matters. They could have did it before they went in.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changed except they lost time.
Yeah. And the reason everybody that goes to prison is not the same. You got guys that are extremely intelligent, were actually making a whole lot of money on the street before they went in. A lot of these guys are already business people. They were illegal business, but they're business people before they even went into prison.
Exactly. So guys, if you want to be a truck driver making 40 grand or come out of the military with the skills that gives you clearance, you still have to do blue collar things, which is change a different direction. Because once the networking gets you into the Octane levels, you have to then maintain that, right?
Octanes, and you know, I like that Jay is on, because Jay is actually proving my point. Okay, Octane levels are not just economic. Okay. $1 million guy that's a blue-collar truck driver is not going to run the same circles that Jay runs in. Not going to happen, because they don't have the qualification to run the same circles. So money by itself is not going to push you from an 87 to a 92. Because there's other factors that you need to have. You're going to be a high-level working class guy. You're going to make a lot of money, but you're still a working class guy.
Exactly, which is why you have to just change wholesale direction.
Yeah. It's also a social circle that you have to be in. And basically, say you're a working class guy, you're raised in the neighborhood, you drive a truck, you're out on a truck, and you make, because I have like one time I was actually on a live stream, right? And we had 11 truck drivers that were actually listening, and subs, right? Listening in, right? And I asked them, I said, okay, how many of you guys make north of $90,000? He had 11 men, all of them made north of $90,000. In fact, there's a couple of them making $150,000 you driving a truck, right? And I said, how many guys can actually date corporate women? Zero. Why? Because those corporate women, those 92 class women, they didn't have a degree. They don't fit in the social circle. So they couldn't get the same kind of women that Jay, I could tell you, Jay probably could make $50,000 a year. You have more access to 92 octane of corporate women than the truck driver does. He's making a third of the price, third of the money, because he's been socialized to fit into that particular world.
That's the caveat I wanted to talk about.
Just being.
Y'all gonna have to come off with some more super chats for me to keep going on this, because we're going way into the weeds. But go ahead. Yeah, we
getting ready to shut it down, because I'm at the 3 hour 45 minute mark. So I'm gonna read this super chat, and I'm gonna actually ask for closing statement. And BGS, if you're gonna go into this, heck, open up your own stream. I see you. You know, monetize. Did I see that? Huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could, but the thing is that if I open up a chat, I don't feel like being on 4 hours explaining this, man. Okay. And you know what? I'm writing a book, man. And basically the book right now is probably at, just where it's formatted at like 80,000 words, right? It's not even coming close to explaining what octanes are. Not even close. This is just the basic structure of the octanes, man. 80,000 words, probably like a 300, maybe 400 page book, and it's just scratching the surface of the octanes. Just scratching the surface. Shout out to
BAGS, man. Shout out.
Yeah, and man,
let me get the super chat in.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, BGS.
Guess who's actually more interested in reading it? People like Jay.
All right, well, let me read this from Black Warrior Spirit and say thank you to that brother. Education has offset imbalances in the Cali Bay and Silicon Valley and kicked out most blacks. Different dynamic and challenge. And we about to go in a closing statement, y'all, because I got to shut it down. I can't be doing all these streams longer than 4 hours where I used to, because I got things changing. But I'm gonna say right now, when it comes to, because all this has started from this Keri Hilson thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Keri Hilson ain't qualified to tell me squat. She old.
No
That's
shit.
Number one.
She old. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Number two is, just because women say this stuff, you ain't got to accept none of it. Just let them die alone.
Yeah.
That's simple. You don't do what I say, die alone. But BGS, any closing statements from you, brother?
I've read some things about Keri Hilson. Keri Hilson, it did not capitalize on her fame and her beauty when she was at her peak, right? And now she's run around with all these dudes. She's dated all these dudes. She's been a pretty girl, and pretty privilege is running out. And basically, the guys that she wants to have, are actually have gone younger. They've gone prettier. And basically they've left her behind because she's a baller girl, right? And baller girls expire after the age of like 30, 31. That's how come Sierra jumped on Russell Wilson. Basically, her baller card is getting ready to expire. Keri Hilson waited almost 10 years past her point where she should have actually looked to actually close down on the baller. And now the guys that she can get, because she can get a husband. She can get a Jay. She can get a guy at a Jay's level. But the thing is, that's not what she wants. So if she can't have a baller guy, then guess what? She's willing to die alone and get a dog. That's what she's gonna do. It has nothing to do with her ability to get a guy. She can, but she can't get a guy at the level that she wants to get a guy. At her level, basically, you get past 25, baby, you need to be looking for a husband, and she didn't. But that's my closing thought.